Hey, what's up, pieces of shit? I'm Jojo the circus monkey. I have erectile dysfunction, and that's David Penis Suck Blaine. He's a virgin.
This is why I hate you, dude.
Listen, man, telling people on the internet you have erectile dysfunction is not a great time. There seems to be some sort of difficulty to that, to be able to reveal that tiny little tight supple portion of myself to them. So
yeah,
here's the thing, Justin.
That's what I have to deal with every time we hit record. Old Tom over there has something ridiculous he wants to say.
Yeah, about my penis, about my massive dong. So Justin, question: do you believe in magic? Regardless.
No.
Yeah. Disregard magic. Here's the question. First off, before we get too into this, I think it goes without saying that I would actually like a refill on some of this.
Oh, good idea. What are we cracking today?
Huh?
What are we cracking today?
Cocaine. Yeah. Hey, you want some ice, dude? Bring your glass.
Yeah, I want some ice for my glass, man.
Here, hold on. Let me pour myself up real quick. Hold on. You know
I'll just wait.
You know what I think, Justin?
I'm dry over here.
I think I'll do a wraparound. A little wraparound.
How was that for you?
Oh, ain't good. Here. Take it, Justin. Oh.
Well, can you ice me up at least?
Oh, yeah, there's no ice in this.
Yeah, dude.
You're getting it straight.
I like a nice cool beverage.
Let me get my gorilla hands in here. And this brings me to my next question. As I'm fishing these ices out of this fucking bowl with my bare hands.
Oh, good. A nice light one.
How do you feel? All right, yeah, I guess I'll just do all this, right?
Yeah, why don't you pour some Coke in there, dude?
Yeah, okay. All right. Here's a question. Have you ever ate cereal before?
Obviously, I've had cereal before.
How do you get the cereal from the box to the bowl?
This is a ridiculous question.
I want to know. How do you get it from the box to the bowl? There's a question there to be answered, Justin.
I pour it out of the box and it lands in the bowl. I don't know. What other way is there to do this?
Let me hit you with a hypothetical.
Okay.
So basically, we're hanging out. Oh, also, give yourself a wraparound real quick. Here, take this bottle of whiskey.
No, I hate you, dude.
Nothing's paid by any of these people, by the way. We're not sponsored.
Sponsored by Back of the Bottle Whiskey.
There you go. Wrap around.
Do a wrap
around. Good for you. It ain't good, dude.
It's so good. It's so smooth.
So good. It's so smooth. That's why we love it, dude. We love this shit. It's great. Oh my God. Here's the thing. What if we were sitting at a table right now and you came over to my house for breakfast, say, and I'm like, all right, we're sitting there with our fucking bowls. We're doing this. Like we're eating some butt cheeks, right?
We're eating butt cheeks?
No, I mean like we were eating some butt cheeks. We're like, right? And you go and you pour your Frosted Flakes into a bowl.
All right.
Would you find it
so
weird?
You don't have shredded wheat? Or
I love shredded wheat, but no. For the sake of this, it's frosted. So,
well, if I have my choice over frosted or just cornflakes, I'll probably go the route of cornflakes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't need the extra sugar, man.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Anyway, here's the thing. Would it be off the cuff, off kilter, off distasteful if I was to, instead of pour, reach my hand into the bag and scoop every scoop of cereal into my bowl?
Yeah. First of all,
you don't think that'd be chill?
There's so many reasons why that's not chill.
Okay.
One, I don't need your dirty dick beaters grabbing all my cereal. Two, it's just an inefficient way to dispense the cereal grain breakfast.
I just feel like I could measure out.
Why are we measuring? You eyeball cereal, dude.
Like the weight, maybe the weight of the flakes.
So you have like a little like scoop, a measuring scoop. You make sure you have one scoop of this, and then you get the like liquid measuring for the milk to make sure we have the right ratio.
The right ratio, yes. Well,
no, you pour the shit in the bowl and you pour milk on it until it looks right.
Well, now that we brought up cereal and pouring things into certain holes or objects, I kind of want to bring up a issue. I was at my old previous job, I wound up getting in some trouble there.
Where?
And I was at one of my old jobs when I was back in New York.
Okay.
And I remember sitting, it was a desk job. And at this portion of the desk, I'm sitting there. And I'm hanging out, normal day, I got people walking around doing their own thing, and I'm sitting there. And this fucking I get a group chat message. And it's like, "Boop," and I see it's like, "Oh, this is the boys group chat." Like, this is the boys.
I hope this is going where I think it's going.
So I'm like, "Oh, this is the boys group chat." Like, of course I'm gonna open it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me take a little dripsy, a little blipsy, smipsy, whipsy.
So you're just sitting there at work and you're just like, oh, hey, what could this be?
Yeah, exactly. So I click it. And you know how like the iPhone will like notice your face, obviously unlock.
Yeah,
So like
of course.
click the notification, it brings you right to the conversation you're
If
having.
you click on the notification, it'll take you right to the notification. Yes.
So I did that.
Okay.
Instantly, video pulls up. It is a woman in some sort of, I want to say it was a bathtub, legs over her head, with her butthole like being spread like this big.
Well, God bless her.
Whatever that is.
Jesus.
A decent sized hole. Like you could look into and be like, there's some space there.
There's a cavern right there.
It's a cavern, a cavity, a massive cavity, if you will. So here's what happens is this guy fucking takes this. He takes this girl and he fucking like puts a shit ton of Mentos in her butt.
Oh, okay.
And then takes this like Pepsi or Coke, whatever it may be, and squirts it into her butt. And just rocketeer, like just Rocket Man, fucking squirts shit all up into the air. Wow. Incredible feat of, just human capabilities. Like incredible. Like kudos, hats off to this woman on just being able to accomplish that.
And immediately you're like, you want to replicate that in your home life.
I did.
You want to get some Mentos in your ass.
Yes. And that's why I got the nickname Mentos Muller.
Wow.
Because of that. So here's what happens. As I'm watching this video, we're at the climax of the video where this girl's just holding her butt, holding on for dear life. Like, oh my God, soda everywhere, right? My manager walks by and he goes, hey, the fuck is that? I'm like, oh, my bad, man. Like, I just open up my like group chat fucking whatever the fuck message, And he was like, no. What the fuck is that? And I'm like,
so the boss man walks by.
He walks by.
And he catches like a full anal scene going.
Yeah.
On.
And I had like a smaller phone at the time. It wasn't like a tablet I'm watching this on. Like, and I had it pretty much to myself like this. So there had to be some sort of like peeking and looking. Like he had to poke and pry to see what I was looking at on my phone. So he walks by, he takes my direct
Now, did you have your like junk in your hand? Like you beating that thing?
No, I didn't. I was in the workplace. So I was not.
Well, you're already watching porn in the workplace. Why not beat off?
It was
in the
not
workplace?
porn. Some may say it's porn if that's what you're into, but for me, it's just a funny video.
Okay.
So he walks by. He gets my like. So he was like the corporate manager guy. Like he's like top tier. Like he's like one of the high ups.
Yeah, I think he was like a production manager.
Something ridiculous like that. So he gets my direct manager, the person like right above me. And he's like, yo, dude, your guy over here.
Yeah, your shift supervisor showed up.
Like, yo, your dude's watching fucking porn on the hangar floor.
Yeah.
And
you were.
What?
Weren't you?
No, I wasn't watching porn. I opened a group chat message. So he was like, hey, dude, your guy's on the floor. He's in this, like, because we worked in a very large area where, like, it was a very wide open office area, if you will.
Okay.
And we were on the floor, the showroom floor. And he goes, yeah, dude, I want you to come down on this guy super hot and heavy. He's like,
yeah, he gave you like a formal complaint, didn't he?
Yeah, he posted like a sexual harassment complaint. He's like, I'm gonna complain about you for like sexual harassment. Something, I don't know what the word was. He'd be like, he didn't like want to sue me. He like wanted some sort of like punitive action. I don't know whether it be like legally, like I guess like in the company's HR department, he wanted to like, be like, yo, this guy is a porn watcher, floor porn watcher. Get him, book him.
Yeah.
So I wound up going and like fucking having to deal with this. My manager's like, yo, dude, it's not good. Like, what's going on? Like, the fucking CEO of the company at the time was like, yo, like, we want to talk to you. Like, it escalated pretty quickly. And he was like, hey, man, you were watching porn on the hangar floor. And I'm like, first off, I just got a group chat from a boy message, a bros message, right? I
Okay.
wasn't just voluntarily like beating my little fucking tiny little meat sausage to hell because I thought it would be
Well,
fun
I
to
think
do.
they should have known immediately, clearly, that you didn't intend to watch this because there wasn't any swinging meats in the video, and you love swinging meats.
Yeah, yeah, I do. So, that happened. And I just remember them coming down on me so hard. They're like, yo, dude, we're about to like fucking launch this full blown investigation on you. They're gonna like hit you with like everything they can. Like, we're gonna like take this as high up as we can go. Everyone's gonna know about
Oh,
this,
I
whatever.
don't think getting fired was off the table at that point because you came to me. We were working at the same place, and you came to me, and you're like, "What's going to happen?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. It
You're like,
doesn't look
best
great."
case scenario wasn't even like a good situation. Like you were telling me like my best case scenario is this happens.
Yeah,
I'm
like a
like,
formal write up,
yeah, and I'm like,
like a
yeah, a
stern
write up
warning.
is like the best case. It's still not good.
No,
I was like, all right,
at least you
okay.
keep getting a paycheck.
Yeah, yeah, and like I thought about like, getting like I thought some worst case like off the wall shit. Like, what if they like dock my pay? What if they like cut me from the job? What if they just like get me the fuck out of the company? Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck's going on? We wind up going to the boss, and I like tell the boss guy, I'm like, yo, dude,
Didn't
like,
you have to go see like the boss's boss?
yeah, yeah. So I had to go way up, and eventually I got to the final tier, the top tier, the boss, and he's like, yeah,
King
here's
Koopa, if
like,
you will.
huh?
King Koopa, if you will.
Exactly. And here's what happened. He was like, yeah, this is what you're accused of, like literally watching this on the floor. What do you have to say for yourself? Are you fucking like in an office environment watching porn? And I was like, no, not at all. He's like, well, okay, but like, we still kind of got to do something about this. So I wound up having to like do some bullshit meal. I had to take extra hours and stuff like that. I had to like work later and like do all the bullshit that nobody wanted to do.
Right.
And like really like they cut me off, I think, in the best case scenario of the thing because I could have lost my job over something as simple as opening
Yeah, I
up a group
think
chat
you
message.
wasn't it like some sort of write up, and then they made you pull some extra shifts that you didn't
Yeah,
want
I
to
had to
do
pull everybody's
anyway.
extra bullshit shift. I had to make sure everybody was like, after everybody went home, I was cleaning up the office and like, making sure everything was clean, spick and span. And like realistically, I've never heard of that happening in like one of those corporate sort of like, settings where like, that
I
seems
mean, don't
more.
get me wrong, I wasn't rooting for this to happen, but I guess maybe I wouldn't have been 100% surprised if they had just let you
I mean, I
go.
still have my job,
Yeah.
which was, super dope, but I guess it was the best
Of course, you're with
outcome.
another company now, so all that doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I've moved on since left that place and like I've moved on to bigger and better things. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just one of those things, man. Like you just if you ever think it's safe. Oh, not to mention months before that, one of our other managers got caught jerking off in the parking lot in his car.
Yeah.
And he's a weird fuck. You know what I'm
And
talking
he
about,
was
right?
like, one of the mid-level guys. He wasn't like a senior manager or anything, but he was up there a little bit higher than you or I. And I don't know. I mean, of course, they don't come down and tell you, "Hey, this is what we did to this guy."
Yeah.
But he didn't get fired or anything. I can tell you that. And you never had your dick out.
Somebody reported him for jerking off in the parking lot.
Now, let me ask you this.
I'm interested.
So, did you hit up the boys after that all went down? You're like, "Hey, man,
So
we got to lay low for a
a
while."
couple of my friends that were involved with that, it was like a group of us, work friends. We all worked at the same company. And
Yeah.
like we all like, had similar positions and stuff like that. Kind of like, some people were in other departments and stuff like that. And I remember like they got wind of this and they were like, oh fuck, we need to like separate, like distance ourselves from Thomas.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to go down
And
with
you
this
made
guy.
it pretty clear, like right at the beginning, like you're not naming names.
Oh,
You'll go
fuck
down
no.
hard if it
I'm
comes to that.
I'm going down hard.
But
I'll
you're
take
not
this to
naming names.
No, I'm not naming names, dude. I remember going into this office and the HR guy's like, hey man, like just tell me what happened. And I told him, he was like, well, who sent it to you? Who was it? Was it somebody in this office? I'm like, I can't tell you them.
Oh, that's right. They had like a department guy come down.
Yeah,
And
dude.
like his job was something altogether different. But
Yeah, he was
also
like the guy in
charge
charge.
of the sexual harassment complaints.
Exactly. And he was like,
And
yo, dude, he's like, just give me a name. Just tell me
there's
who
no
it is.
names coming.
And I
dude.
was like, no.
There's no names.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. He was like, well, just tell me who it is.
Would
We
you
can get to the bottom of this.
answer honestly? And if it's not the case, that's fine. I won't think less of you because it's impossible to think less of you than I already do.
You piece of shit.
But if they're like, hey, here's your two choices. You give us a name, you give us two names, you tell us everything there is to know, or you're getting fired on the spot. What are you doing?
I swear to God, one of these days, I just kick this piece of shit.
At that point in the company, I feel like I was in such a bad mental headspace, and I feel like I already was like on my last strand of just leaving. Right.
Right.
It wasn't like a place where I woke up to every day, and like I'm sure you've had jobs like this too,
Well, I
Justin.
mean, that I had the same job and it wasn't too great for me, and that's why I was kind of happy when we both left the company there.
It
And
was
we
like a
both found this job out here where we could come out and do this, and we have
and
free
the fact that
time.
we like they had a position for both of us, like
Yeah.
because like we come at it as a team. You either
Yeah,
get us
we
both.
come as a team.
Yeah, we come as a team. So to answer your question, man, like would I have? I genuinely want to say, and like maybe I was in a different mental space than I was then than now. But I want to say I genuinely feel like I would have just taken the L and been like, I'd rather keep my friends who are, because I'm a big, me, I'm like, I love my friends. I'll do anything from like my friends that are close to me. I love them all. And I knew to myself, like right then and there, like, if you're like, you either get out of this fucking office and you leave and you never come back to this company, or you just give up all your buddies and like, you'll be fine.
Now, let me tell you what I saw from my perspective.
Well, I'd rather just leave the company.
100%. Yeah, I can understand that. That's respectable.
I'm not giving in.
Now, let me tell you what I saw from my perspective when I saw this sort of going down. So, at that point in time, I happened to be like one level above you, which is like one very small level above you at the time.
Yeah.
But I was. And you were over there. I think you were using the computer and you were probably putting some drafts up or something like that. And I was over there. I'm working on this project, which from my position was a little bit rare to be working on these projects. But I'm over here. The one time I just happened to have stepped away, thank God I did, I guess for my own sake, where I was over here working on this project, and I look over and I see the department manager, this production guy, he is like getting in your ass. And
like
I'm
the
like,
one time
I'm
you
like,
were away
what
from
the
me.
hell is this?
The one fucking time you stepped away, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been both our ass, but
Yeah.
I guess good for me. I wasn't me.
Yep. And like, yeah, dude, it was a shitty situation. I've since then, like, honestly, like I never want to be that guy. It's like, they're right. I'm in the wrong, but like, 'cause I've never, give that information up. But I definitely feel like I'm definitely more cognizant of, what messages I'm checking from certain group chats now in the workplace, because in all honesty, that, that's a big deal. And I don't know about you, but I've had conversations with older women that I have met throughout living in my time in New York and
Yeah,
stuff
because
like
you're a
that.
MILF guy.
Love loose vaginas. Anyway, I'm in there and I'm like talking to these older women, and I remember some of them telling us, like me, and I kind of vented to some of them about my situation. They're like, that's really crazy, and we get it, we understand it. But back in the day, in the 50s and 60s, like sexual harassment of women was like a really big thing.
I mean, you couldn't just go around raping them or anything.
No, but like,
or
hey,
groping.
toots, get that fat ass in here. Hey, give him a little butt pinch as you go by. Like, hey, just because you have a nice rack doesn't mean you could talk to me like that. That old like corporate New York business style stuff where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
toots, then it's the nice brunette with the big rack. You know what I mean?
Now, let me ask you something. And I hope I'm not taking this a direction you don't want to go. But at that time, and for the listeners who don't know who it is, we'll get into it a little bit here. But at that time, when this was going down, I sort of felt bad because at the time, Norm was like the assistant supervisor of the whole company.
So Norm is let's squash this right now, because I'm okay with taking it that way, and I'll be completely bluntly honest with you. Norm, who is a very close friend of both of ours now, probably
What a privilege!
Yeah.
Like, this guy
Just
is a professional worker. He
so
makes us look
professional,
like
dude.
fools.
And like the thing about Norm is like, I think we've gotten closer with him being out here in Hawaii than we ever had, and being able to like, because he came out here too. He's out here. He's out here for a while.
He went out to get.
He's
a different
rarely
job.
ever here. He's always on a plane going somewhere.
Well, he came out here, and just as a coincidence, he has a different job at a whole other company than you or I do.
Yeah.
But
he was the guy, like you were saying, he was the guy that was kind of like overseeing this whole situation.
Right. He was the assistant supervisor.
And I have to
and
say,
it was unfortunate to kind of put him in that position.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I have to
maybe
say, like,
we'll talk with him when we get him on the show. We might have to bring that up again.
I wouldn't mind to, and that's only if he's okay with it. But I have to say, like, my opinion on Norm hasn't changed, and like even after that, like he had
Norm
a job
did
to
what
do.
he was expected.
Yeah,
to do.
he had a job to do.
You bet.
And like in the position he was in, like he had to, it's integrity, right? Like,
100%.
he couldn't change what he wanted to do.
Norm, if you're
because
listening, we hold no grudge over this.
Oh no, not at all, dude. And like I respect it, because even you could be best friends with somebody when it comes down to business and it comes down to brass tacks. Like, hey, business is business.
Well,
This
I
is not
think
like
he was at that company at the time for I gotta say like 17 years or something. We're in a different position, a different place in our life where we could not in the least bit even suggest that he's going to do something to compromise his career for the benefit of you or I.
Mhm.
That's laughable.
Mhm.
And I would never ask him to do that.
And I think it also showed a lot about his personality. And I think this can relate to a lot of our viewers and listeners too, that, when you get with people and you have friends who are in positions that are above you, whether it's managerial, whether you happen to be in some sort of company where there's a very big, a lot of people above you, or even you can probably relate to some like those military guys where like they have some sort of rank structure, right? Where there's
Yeah.
like, they have their privates and their sergeants and their generals and wherever the fuck it may be.
Well, I imagine being the military, if you get in trouble and they want to give you, what do they call it, an Article 15 or whatever it is,
Oh yeah.
and it's not always
Court
like
martial,
it might be a court martial.
something like that.
Well,
yeah.
it's not always like, hey, first sergeant, whoever, he hates you and he wants to make you court martial.
No.
It's more like just he's got a job to do. He's got whatever standard is set, and that's his job to execute that standard.
And even coming from a family, because I know in my family I have a lot of military. A lot of my friends are close military. I don't know about you, but I'm sure.
Yeah,
you
my
probably
folks are prior military. They were both
oh
in
yeah,
the Air
yeah.
Force.
Aren't your mother and father? They were both in the Air Force.
They were both in the Air Force. They were
Yeah.
stationed out here in Oahu.
Exactly. You probably hear stories from them about what's gone on and stuff like that. And so it's a very I'm assuming that like when you get to that sort of military thing, that it's a lot more rigorous and strict and stuff like that, and that whole structure of like privates and sergeants and whatever the fuck it may be above that it's a lot more rigorous and taken very seriously, as it should be. But and that doesn't relate what the situation I was in to that by any means. But I do have to say that I think I don't bash on him for doing what he did. Business is business, and you have to understand that when you get into these jobs where you happen to make friends with people that are higher than you, you have to give them that respect in the workplace.
Right.
Like you can be buddy with somebody, like best friends with somebody, but if he's your boss, when it comes to boss matters, in reality, having that integrity is crucial to the success of that company.
Well, and full transparency too. We didn't really, at the time, we had no personal relationship with Norm during
just
that
like a
period of
hello,
time.
how are you, in passing. Like
now it's kind of been like, hey, we're all in Hawaii. We don't work together, so he's not our boss anymore.
No, like let's hang out more often.
Let's hang out a little
I mean,
bit.
we went to the beach with him and his family. Beautiful family. Great guy. Like, and it's almost disgusts me how fucking hilarious and funny and down to earth he is.
Yeah.
And this isn't. We might as well title this episode Norm and how great Norm is, or here's us just
first of all,
Norm
is great. He's not even though he's never like done anything that would be, in my opinion, considered like favoritism or excusing any poor behavior. He has given us certain types of advice about, hey, you guys are starting out in your career. I'm finishing up my career. Hey, maybe you ought to explore this. Maybe you should go this way. Talk to these people, that kind of thing.
I think he's one of those great people that you can go to for advice. And I think everybody should have that outlet. You should always have something, regardless of because I don't know about you, Justin, but like I've had people, let's bring up my buddy Renee.
Renee's great.
But he's younger than me and, substantially younger than me. But I go to him for advice because I'm one of those big believers in age doesn't determine maturity level.
Well, he got in with it was the same company in Colorado. He got in that company in Colorado before
I hate
you
only
did.
having friends.
He got in a year or two before you did, like right out of high school, and then you didn't get this job until you were like 25, 26 years old. So he ended up becoming a supervisor as well. So he was in charge.
And I never looked down on him for that.
But age doesn't mean everything. You
Not
can't
at
be
all.
like, I'm older than you, so I don't have to listen to you.
Well, I got to bring up an issue.
Okay.
Pizza John.
Pizza goddamn John. You know what? He listens to every episode, so I have something to say to John right now. Hey, John. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. So here's the thing. Yeah, John, but John said to me, and it bothers me. Like, this is not a conversation. Let's say what I have to say and move on to the next subject, because I don't want this to be a whole episode about our work experiences, our bosses. But hopefully, what we're talking about might give a little bit of advice or a little bit of insight. I remember talking to John one day,
Okay.
and I was like, "Yo, dude, what's up? What's going on with this?" And he said something to me along the lines of, "Hey, dude, we're the same age. You don't get to talk down to me, or you don't get to give me advice on things, because we're the same age." He basically chalked it up to us being the same age and me not being allowed to tell him certain things or have certain opinions about things because we were equals
Okay.
in his eyes, which, like, equals is a term used very loosely, because I guess as humans, we're all equals. I guess I would never look down on one of my friends and say, "You're not equal as me." Like, I would consider that same thing. But the whole life experience and situation and opinions, like,
Yeah, I
just
mean, your
because
levels of
someone
experience and certain things and certain levels of
exactly.
expertise.
I'm
on
sure
things
there's
be
certain
very
things I can
different.
go to Pizza John for and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
dude, what's your opinion on this?" As I would expect that from him. But he told me in that moment, it really bothered
No,
me.
John's a great guy. We love him.
Yeah, I love him. And, he definitely said to me, he was like, "Hey, like, we're the same age. Like, you're, like, not my father. Like, you don't get to tell me this. Like, me and you are the same,
I
whatever." And I,
mean,
I really felt like,
I don't know what the level of advice was or what you had to say. I guess it's irrelevant to the situation. But if he's not ready to hear that or he's not comfortable hearing that from you, then you just kind of let that go.
yeah,
And
yeah,
maybe it was bad advice. Maybe it was the best advice ever. I have no idea.
yeah, yeah.
But
But I think that's just a true testament to be like, everybody has their strengths. Whether you've had a shitty boss or a great boss or a young boss or an old boss, if you can take something from these people and learn something, even if everything else they say is bullshit, but there are some things that are, pretty decent and, pretty good advice. Like, when you meet someone, you take all the good things about them and you kind of form your opinions and how you want to be as a person. You take all those bad things and weed them out. That's just like your own it's not called venting, it's not called vicing. It's your own, like, vesting, vetting
okay.
vetting system to vet out, like, different, like, pieces of people. And even, like, like, because I remember telling a story back away on episode like 1 or 2, like, one of my very best friends had that shitty boss that sent him to, like, he basically, my buddy was in a situation where he had a terrible boss and, like, put him in a bad mental place. But I'm sure, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's 1 or 2 good things out of how terrible this boss was that he could find something good out of, and that's the big
Possibly.
thing. It's a mental mind, it's that mental space. It's like, you need to really, like, step back and look at things in the big picture and figure out, this was a really shitty situation. But if I can gain maybe just 1 or 2 things, something good from this, maybe it wasn't so bad of a situation.
Well, I
But
know you and I both, we somehow just happen to be floating around in the same path of life right now. And who knows how that's going to change as we get moved down the road. But we worked at the last company together. Now we're working at this company together.
yeah,
And
different sections, but
I know in the case of Pizza John, we have talked to him. Hey, we're both in with this job. It's a decent job. I don't gonna say it's the best job ever, but it pays the bills.
yeah,
And we've like, hey, John, if you want to come out here and we can probably get you a job with a good referral working for this company.
yeah,
And I think he decided to go a different way with that. And that's fine.
yeah.
The only thing that we're hoping is we can see John succeed in his professional life.
And that's really all you want. I don't want to see you down in the dumps, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see you, like, down on your luck and, like, have no money for anything like that or whatever. And I think, like, if you were to get rich today, right? If I was to become a millionaire
Okay.
right now, I went down and bought a scratch off, which you can't buy in Hawaii, apparently.
Is that right?
No gambling in Hawaii. That's why all Hawaiians go to Vegas. You'll
Oh,
find
we
a lot
do.
of a lot of Hawaiians go to Vegas. There's no gambling here. So
There's got to be some underground shit.
probably. Probably. So what I'm saying is, like, where was I going with this? Like, tell me.
You
Catch me
said
up.
if you made $1 million off
If
a
I made $1
scratch
million,
off.
like, I still feel like I would want my friends from when I had $0. And I'd still want to be able to share the love and be a part of something bigger and have this money to experience things with people who were with me when we had $0.
Man, that's
right?
hard to say, man. I mean, money changes people. Money changes the people that have the money, and money changes the people who are around them. Like, maybe I will get real salty about you having $1 bajillion and I'm sitting in the poorhouse. I don't know. Or
Yeah.
maybe you do turn into like a huge douchebag. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's very hard to say. I mean, money is a weird thing the way it is used. I'd say in America, but probably worldwide.
Is it because a majority of our life revolves around money? Like, I mean, let's be honest. Everyone says money doesn't buy happiness, but if I had an extra, let's not even like make it an expensive amount. Let's just say $100,000. I can get ahead on some bills,
Sure.
maybe pay off a car,
Yeah.
and be left with probably not much money left,
Yeah.
right? You know, like so, like that small amount, which in theory it sucks to say, but $100,000 in the grand scheme of things is not a lot of money.
I agree.
But when you get into that millions and millions of money, where money is no longer an option, and I just feel like it's too tough to say. Like you said, it's too tough to say. Like I'd like to think that I would like have me and my friends and like me bring all my friends to the top with me. But like you said, who's really to know? You know, I'm sure there's plenty of testimonials out there. You could read up on different people who, you know, are YouTube stars or movie stars or music stars that have had all this money and had these friends that they just throw on the back burner because, like you said, when you get into money, it changes people, both the receiver and the people around them, you know. But I know we got off topic, and actually, I really appreciate that conversation. I thought it was
This is a
really
good conversation.
one. But I do want to run back to, we glazed over it. I need to know, because this is what the conversation was supposed to be about. Bigfoot. Do you believe in Bigfoot or not?
Oh, I do not.
And give me one excuse, one opinion as to why you don't think Bigfoot's a thing. Give me something that disproves Bigfoot. Let's put it that way. Because now that
what do we have that disproves Santa Claus, man? You can't. It's so difficult to prove something does not exist. But at a certain point, you have to realize, using a little bit of like common sense and things like that. Like, there's no Sasquatch, there's no Bigfoot.
So you genuinely think that? So I would assume, like, based off your opinion of that, you probably don't believe dinosaurs are real.
No, dinosaurs are a thing. Why would you assume that because I don't believe in Bigfoot that dinosaurs can't be real?
So
those are
give
two
me
separate
like,
things.
so you're telling me you don't think there's some sort of large ape-like human thing out there that is walking around the woods of wherever the fuck? Because like, that's the weird thing about Bigfoot, dude, too. And that's what puts us up into discussion also. Is there like multiple sightings of like different Bigfoot characteristic, you know, features around the whole United States?
Yeah, well,
Some
and outside the United States as well.
Outside too?
Yeah, it's not a only North America species.
I did not know that. Okay. And you're 100%, you think that like it's just not a
Many
thing.
of the sightings have been debunked. Many of them have.
As in what? Fake video?
Fake video, guy dressed up in big funny suit, stuff like that.
I don't know, man. Like, do you like, I would like to think that Bigfoot's a thing. I think there's some sort of like attractiveness and knowledge and like want to think that there's something out there that is unexplainable and just leaving it at that. But you genuinely believe that there's not the possibility of any sort of creature that resembles Bigfoot?
Well, let me throw this at you. Well, we'll go back to that. This question is what I'm going to hit you with. If you're saying Bigfoot, is Bigfoot a singular entity or is it a species that's been really yet to be discovered?
That's what I'm saying. And like earlier when I just said there's sightings of him everywhere, right? Outside the United States.
So if it's one Bigfoot, he must travel.
He's not traveling everywhere, right? So that exactly, I got where you're coming from. So literally, I think that he has to be a species. There has to be a species of this sort of human-like, humanoid type fucking being that is all around different places that are now like dwindled down to where their sightings are very like, is the Yeti, is that a thing?
That's what I was about to ask you. That was the question I was going to. So Yeti, which is basically your cold weather polar Bigfoot.
Abominable snowman. Yeah.
Is that some sort of like
Bigfoot,
the bear and polar bear, their relation?
Yeah.
Would that be the same thing there?
Kind of like a Bigfoot that's Antarctica's Bigfoot, if you will.
Yeah, I think they're seen in Alaska and places like that.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility. I think it's like you know, there's so much land. When you look at Hawaii too, I don't know if you've seen this map, but like when you look an overscale view of Hawaii, and this is just like, you know, you'll see that a majority of Hawaii is inhabited all along the ridges closer to the beaches and stuff.
Along the coast.
And then right in the middle is this like massive jungle preserve area where nobody's allowed to like touch or do anything, no building, anything like that, because they preserve these areas. So to say what really happens in there.
Can you go hiking in there or anything?
I don't know. I don't know, but when I look on the map, it's like preserve.
We need to do a couple nature hikes while we're out here.
Well, I want to get me and you. I think maybe I don't know if like it's a tomorrow thing or this week thing. We should swing by that old ancient temple.
Okay,
in here.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
bring a couple mics and we might just talk about it for a few minutes. I don't know. Like, if viewers, let us know if you want us to like, if you would be interested. We're going to do it regardless whether you say you want it or not.
Yeah, we're gonna do what we want.
We're going to do what we want. But if that's something that interests you, you have some sites out here that you want us to go talk on. We'll go down to Pearl Harbor. We'll talk about that. We'll go down to the Byoto Inn Temple. We'll talk about that. We'll see this beautiful landmarks. Just try to take people where we are. And like I said, we are not the guys that are reporters and aficionados on the, you take whatever we say.
I mean, if
to the
anything,
book.
we're professional non-professionals.
Exactly. So Yeti, I think there's a good possibility, especially Alaska being as cold it is. I think it's very hard to go and explore every square inch of Alaska without having
It's so damn big, dude.
It is. And Bigfoot, I think United States is very big. There's a lot of areas that we haven't been to.
Now, where is Bigfoot predominantly seen? It's up north, isn't it?
In your mom. No, I don't know where. Where? Tell me. North America?
I think it's got to be like northern United States, Wyoming, Montana, places like that.
Oh, yeah. I think Montana's a big one. So basically, as I see here, is this. Here we go. Let me read this excerpt.
Well, what does it say? We all want to know.
While deeply embedded in modern American culture, the legend of Bigfoot originates long before the 21st century. Indigenous tribes across northwestern America have spoken for centuries of a furry, bipedal beast that stole from fishermen and lived in isolation. But Bigfoot, as modern Americans have come to know the creature, first took newspapers by storm in the early 1900s.
Okay.
Though the actual name Bigfoot was coined decades later in 1958, Humboldt Times article concerning 17-inch long footprints found in Bluff Creek, California. Then, in 1967, documentaries released a short film that seemed to feature the beast itself. Though often brushed off as a hoax, the iconic film nonetheless spun a collective quest to find Bigfoot. Ever since, scholars, anthropologists, and self-described Bigfoot experts claim to have learned everything there is to know about the creature, from its diet and hunting habits to its paranormal abilities.
Paranormal abilities.
Explore. Yeah. So, facts about Bigfoot's history. Before it was called Bigfoot, he was referred to as Sasquatch. The term was an angelicalization of Sasquatch or Sasquatch, a word from the Halak-Emilam language of the First Nations peoples in parts of Southwest British Columbia. So British Columbia, way up in Canada, way up there. That's where people talk about it.
So what is it about these Bigfoot creatures? Obviously, we have lots of other creatures. For example, a bear. A bear is not known for its extreme levels of stealth.
No.
So why is this creature so difficult to spot and so hard to find? Do they actively avoid human beings?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's one of those great mysteries about Bigfoot. And, I think as equally as many, like we talked about the moon landing, I think as equally as amount of things, maybe it's a sense something to disagree on, but I think that equally as many things as there is to say he is real, that maybe he's not real. So let's hey, listen, let's take a break. We'll come back with you after this with another great segment of In Gear Podcast.
Cool. Welcome back to our second half of In Gear. I'm sorry.
Nope. Sorry.
God damn. Throwing off my intro. I'm Soda Can Justin. He's Twizzler Tom.
If that's any inclination as to the sizes of our penises, you're 100% right.
Tom, let's go ahead and pour another drink. Why don't we?
Well, you just started. I thought you had a lot more to go there, but let's do a little bit of wraparound. We'll do a little bit of one of these.
There's a structure. I'm not going to deviate from the structure. Not for anybody. Not for you.
Oh, dude.
How many people do you think that they don't even think we have any structure coming into the show? We just wing it.
I don't know, dude. That whiskey wasn't too good, dude. Let me honest with you. Hey, give me your glass.
I don't know why you're cowboying the bottle.
Well, you give me a wrap around real quick. Give me one wrap around, unless you're scared to wrap around anymore.
All right, watch this, viewers, all the way around the world.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's not good, dude. It doesn't get better. You think it does, and every time it's just worse. I'm sorry. Continue on, Justin. You were
all right. So while you go ahead and prepare our sweet beverages, I'm going to go ahead and read a comment from our YouTube channel.
Read it. I'm always interested in comments.
All right. So Ted writes, so 2 things related to this amazing episode, which is referring to the episode where we talk about the rather large women.
Sorry,
episode
Ted.
11. Episode 11.
Yeah.
So he says, 1, referring to that nice young lady's boobs as socks filled with pudding is probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
A nice young lady. Hey, that nice, gentle woman referring to her. Yeah. So, I mean, like, Justin, you got to say, I'm sure you get the reference, right? Those 2 fried eggs nailed to a wall.
Yeah.
Those 2 tube socks filled with fucking pudding, man. You get where I'm coming at, right?
I definitely do.
They're not nice. It's not something that, like, one of those things that, like, you want to look at again.
Well, it's not something you're going to brag about to the other guys about.
Not like, yo, dude, I fucked this girl last night, and her tits were so saggy. We call, on the bus. I used to ride the bus to school. Crazy, right? Shocker. We always used to call this one girl rib boobs.
Rib boobs.
Rib boobs.
Explain.
Because her boobs always started here.
Oh, no.
And, like, for some reason, man, like, and I get everybody has different situations. And, I really feel that. And, like, I'm very, respectful in that sense. But if your boobs are on your ribs, maybe wear a little bit more of a shirt. Maybe something so, like, you don't have 2 fucking diamonds poking out down here.
You know what? Maybe you have no room to talk, dude.
Yeah,
look at yourself.
Yeah, look at these. Look at these. Look how terrible those things are. But yes, Ted, we get it. Yeah, rib boobs not the greatest thing, and I'm sure Ted, he's probably from the way he's typed this out. I would assume he's probably an older gentleman. He's enjoying the show.
I'm pretty sure he is, but you know what? He's probably smashing dimes every weekend.
I bet you he fucks so many girls that, like, he goes home and he just wants to punch his dick.
He's probably married to somebody, but it doesn't matter because he's railing 5 other people out a week.
Yeah, this is how I picture Ted. I'm Ted. I fuck women. That's how I picture Ted.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the remainder of his message goes as such. And 2, in the reference to your NFL talk, how about them Chiefs?
How about them Chiefs? And, like, I think, like,
fuck the Chiefs.
Well,
nobody likes the Chiefs. They're not doing anything. I realize they're number 1. They're in the playoffs right now.
Aren't you from Kansas?
What's that?
Aren't you from Kansas?
I'm from Kansas. The Chiefs are a Missouri team.
No, it's Kansas City, Missouri.
What was that last part?
Yeah, but isn't it on the border? Doesn't Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas?
The city of Kansas City is split down the middle by the state border, yes.
So who is Kansas's team?
They don't have their own football team.
So they just don't have one.
There's many states that don't. There's no Rhode Island Pirates or something. I don't know, whatever they would be.
The Rhode Island Lobsters.
The Massachusetts Colonials. Well, they have the Patriots, I guess. Actually, yeah. So Massachusetts has a team. Oh, yeah. I forgot about the Patriots, the winningest football team. Whoops.
Oh, shit. Okay. So, well, it's funny because you're from Missouri, aren't you?
No.
Oh, it's not too fun now, is it, Justin? When people are just completely fucking up where you grew up, right?
I feel like you know the answer to that, too. I'm not from Missouri. I'm from a small town just south of Wichita,
I bet
Kansas.
You that town's called, like, Burn My Nipples Off with a Cow Prod, Kansas, right?
This is why you have no friends.
Yeah, that's why. That's the reason. Anyway, continue.
That's the whole story. He says, how about them Chiefs? And I don't know. I don't even feel like Ted is a Chiefs fan. I don't read that here. I think he's just trying to like needle me.
Needle.
He's just needling.
He's just trying, like, if this is your penis, he's trying to finger your penis with his finger. That's what I think he's trying to do. Yes. Needle you.
Yeah. So you know what, Ted? I take back everything nice I ever said about you. How about that?
So what else? What else you got on the chopping block for us today?
All right. So it did remind me of a story, though. So he brought up the pudding sack woman. And it reminded me of a fun little anecdote I thought I would share on air.
Okay.
Once upon a time, your boy Justin over here, he was with a female woman even.
Really?
Yeah.
Not a man woman.
Yeah.
A female.
And he was putting it down as God intended.
Like with your penis.
Yeah. And
not with
a
your
little
butt.
backstory on this, though. Like, I had just gotten with this girl. I was trying to make a good impression, you know. You know, is that whiskey hitting you hard?
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe add a little more to the glass.
Yeah, you're right.
That'll help.
There we go. Top her off. A little top.
So, I'm trying to be super polite. I mind my manners and everything. You know, we're only a couple of dates in or whatever it is.
Oh, so it wasn't like a one-off. Like, you guys are on a couple dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm putting it down on her finally. And you're not like, first time you hook up with a woman, you're probably not like, let me try to pee on her or something like that.
No, I guess a little bit of respect.
Yeah, you do the like more mundane sexual activity and
like
progress
a finger
upward.
blast?
What?
Like a finger blast?
No, it was full insertion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm listening.
So I'm mounted in your old typical missionary position. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Maybe Sean will give us a nice missionary graphic. Oh, wait. Tom's got us.
This is what I picture you doing. Now, just imagine what I'm doing is this wall is, the fucking bed. This is what I picture you doing.
That's great.
That's what I picture. Did you get a good idea of that?
Yeah, I think our viewers saw that pretty well.
All right, cool.
Anyway, so without any warning or any kind of warning, out of nowhere comes this loud audible fart.
Oh.
So I just farted all over this woman.
Okay.
You know how embarrassing that is, dude? To bust ass right in the middle of coitus.
What did she say?
Well, she was a damn champ.
Did she just ignore it?
No, there's no ignoring. It ruined the whole mood, though.
Did she laugh?
She kind of laughed. She's like, it's okay. It's fine. All that shit. And,
no.
we got together more after that. So it didn't like completely cut the whole relationship
but
off.
It's not fine.
No, it wasn't fun at all. I don't need to be busting ass.
So then what?
Well, I mean, then we kind of got dressed because the naked activities were over.
It was like that. Like they were.
Yeah,
done.
it killed the mood, dude.
Oh,
it killed the goddamn mood.
Was it a mutual dressing or did she start getting dressed?
I think it was my decision. Like I was completely embarrassed.
Yeah, as you should be.
I farted on a woman, dude.
Yeah, dude, you're disgusting. You should be embarrassed.
It was terrible.
So you shit yourself.
There was no shit.
All right,
there was no shit.
You shit yourself.
I shit the air.
You shit the air, the atmosphere, as you would.
Yeah.
And you guys are just like, oh, haha, it's fine. It happens.
She tried to be super cool, but I was way beyond embarrassed, and I couldn't recover from it.
She probably wanted a little taste.
Taste of my fart?
Is that so bad of her that she wanted a taste of you?
She didn't want a taste of my fart, dude. And she probably could taste it. That was probably airy as shit.
No, you're just pissing me off now.
Wow.
You're literally just pissing. All I have to stir this whiskey is this fucking cord. Well, all I have is this fucking electrical cord. So what the hell else am I going to mix it with? My fingers like a suicide victim? A weirdo? No.
Yeah. I think that's for the best.
No, dude.
Anyway, so you were telling me during the break, though, that you had some sort of Volvo story.
So we roll it back to my time. You know what? And I'm almost sick and tired of this because I feel like some of our best stories have to do with either shitting or farting. And now we're getting to be, is this going to turn into the fart show? The shit show?
I hope not. I don't really want to go there.
I don't know if I can talk about
I don't want to be like YouTube shit boys.
You're listening to the shit boys on WJFF. Yeah, no.
But we're not scared to say some embarrassing things that happen.
No, but I'm sick and tired of the only funny things that are happening is our shit. I'm tired of it, okay?
We'll do something more interesting in your personal life.
Yeah, shit happens to be a hot topic, okay? So here's the thing. I'm a young 17-year-old fucking man. So it's sweet and supple.
You said you're fucking a man?
No, actually, I'm 18, I believe, at this point. This is like my first fucking job, and it was at a Walmart.
Okay.
So I was working in the lawn and garden section.
Old L&G.
L&G. So I'm hanging out there. By the way, chilling. So I'm hanging out, and I start meeting my coworkers, stuff like that. It's been a few weeks. And there's this one female coworker. Her name is Hunter. And she had to be probably my height. Kind of like stocky build, but like in shape, like ran a lot. You know, like very in shape. It's massive. Just
Yeah. Huge neck.
just jacked, like six pack.
Huge
with like
Adam's
beaks.
apple.
Oh, no. She was not a man. Come to find out. You'll hear it later in the story. So we're doing this whole thing, and we start like dating. I think she was just looking for anybody she can control. She was like in like school to be like a corrections officer.
Yeah, and powerlifter.
Yeah, and powerlifter, some shit like that. Who knows? So we're hanging out, we're dating.
What's her name?
What?
What's her name?
I already told you, Hunter.
Oh, that's right.
Hunter. So we're hanging out. We wound up going to her house, and it was one of my first like girlfriends, and we're hanging out. And
What was her last name? Gatherer?
Hunter Gatherer. No, fuck. What is her name? Schaefer? No, that's a tranny. I don't know. It starts with an S something.
We're gonna have to talk about trannies on
Hunter Simmons. I think it's Hunter Simmons.
Of course it is.
And we're
That's
hanging
my
out.
mother's maiden name, by the way, is Simmons.
Is it really? Good for you.
So if you start piecing these episodes together, you can probably steal my identity.
There you go. And we'll start putting out little blips of our social security numbers here and there.
Yeah. There's
So-
a one in it.
Yeah, there is a one. So what happened was fucking I'm hanging out with her. I wound up meeting her mom. Her mom introduces me to herself to me as, hey, I'm fucking, I don't even know her name, Nancy, whatever the fuck it was. And she is a medium. She's from Long Island, and she is a psychic medium.
Oh, good.
A self-proclaimed
Did you get a
psychic.
reading?
What?
Did you get a reading?
She actually, there was some situations where she had said some stuff that was very weird to me. I remember sitting at a pizza place, and just like we are now, she's sitting across from me like you are, and I'm sitting here. And all of a sudden, so the entrance where the pizza shop is like way back there, like to her back. So she's staring at me, and we're talking, and
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. And this person comes to the door, and I didn't look up or anything, look at them. I'm just looking at her talking, and we're having a conversation like we are now. This person comes to the door, and all of a sudden, the person has to walk past us for the aisle to get to their table,
Okay.
but it's still to his back. She hasn't looked behind herself or anything like that. And she was like, something happened, and she said, like, as this person's approaching her, she goes, "Oh, I just felt something really dead and cold enter the room." She's like, she's like, "I feel something really bad and something dead and terrible." And I'm like, "Oh, what?" And I look up, and as it walks by, it looks like this homeless man who had to be like in his 50s, who is like obviously a drug addict, strung out on drugs, and also is like dressing like a woman, had like a shitty children's sports bra on, has like, looks like a kid took a crayon all over their face. Like, you know, one of those fucking bag drug addicts that think they look better as a woman, and like they try to get their tricks
I
and their
guess.
fixes like that.
I
And
guess.
so I thought that was super weird. She picked that out from like very far, but she also told me and Hunter when we first started dating, she was like, "Hey, don't you have sex in this house? This is a virgin house. I've never had sex in this house, and you guys will never have sex in this house. And if you have sex in this house, I'll feel it. I'll know it because I'm a psychic medium from Long Island." Okay, whatever.
So how long did it take you to have sex in the house?
Like 45 minutes. So we start banging a fuck ton. Her mom never finds out. Her mom never comes up to it, but it comes down to one of the last times. This was the last time I saw her. Me and Hunter are hanging out, and we go downstairs, and like her mom's house didn't have much in it. So we go down to the finished basement where there's fresh carpet. And I'm on top of her, I'm doing the thing. And like in good old missionary, I'm putting it down, doing what I can.
Yeah.
You know, doing the fucking deed. And everything's going good. And the other thing too was that she would only use condoms. And I hate condoms. I'm not a fucking 11-year-old kid that needs to wear condoms. Dude. I don't think I've ever worn a condom in my life until her. So I remember using condoms. I had to use condoms. Oh my God, it sucks. Whatever. Fuck. All right. So we're doing it. I'm on top, doing the whole thing. And then I take her and I sexually and very smoothly like flip her over and start hitting it from the back. You know, a little doggy style action.
Oh, so you just think you're a pro now?
Yeah. So I'm like doing a couple kisses. I'm like flip her over. I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, this is great. Now, like, we're going to do it like this. So I'm hitting it from the back. And you know how you have your hands on the hips and you're like, you know, you're doing what you got to do.
Right.
But I take my hands and I put them on the cheeks.
Okay.
And I pop the cheeks apart.
All right.
Pop them. You know how it is, right? You got a cheek in each hand.
I get the picture. Yeah.
And as I pop these cheeks, I see a diarrhea streak right up the ass.
Hold on.
Dude,
Pump
when you
the
did that,
goddamn
when you
brakes.
did that, it was like everything was taken out of your body.
You mean to tell me you're banging little Miss Shit Ass over there? And what are you gonna do? Do you stop? You gotta stop.
Listen,
you gotta
man.
be like, hey, woman, clean yourself.
I've told this story a million times, and people always hit me with that. Well, why weren't you just a man? Why don't you just take a wipe and wipe her up real quick? Because it's not my job to clean a woman's privates. That's why I didn't do that. So now I see diarrhea, and I'm like kind of like looking up, like, And I look down, I'm like, oh God. So now I see diarrhea up the cheek, and it wasn't like you didn't see like turds everywhere. It was just like someone like did like a one wipe and still had like a lot of extra there.
No.
Yeah. So I look at it, I'm like, that's not too attractive. That ain't cool. That's not very cash money, if you will.
Oof.
So I see it. I take the cheeks, I pop them back together, and try to close up this diarrhea that I see.
Like you're shutting a book?
Yes, like you're shutting a book. And I pop these cheeks together where the diarrhea is. And I fucking I flip her back over again.
Yeah. Get that out of my face.
I flip her back over. And I start kissing her. I'm like this. Like this is so here. This is the fucking girl, right? I'm like this. See that?
How do you do that?
And I'm like, oh my God, baby. That was so good. I finished. She's like, oh my God, did you really? Oh my God, it's so great. I'm like, yeah. So then like we like fucking
Did you achieve climax?
No. Are
Why?
you gonna achieve climax when you have shit in your fucking face, Justin? No.
No, I don't think I would.
No, you don't think you would. So neither did I.
But
I'm
you
not
flip
too-
her over and you pretend it's not there.
Yeah, well, no. So I kissed her and I was like, I finished, whatever. I didn't finish. And I back off of her. I wind up leaving. And that was like, let's just say like she hit me up a few times because we were actually like dating. We were like official boyfriend
So
girlfriend.
let's recap then. So you put a condom on, witnessed shit, and tapped out.
Yeah, like everything was
So
bad
you
about
strangled your penis with that condom for no reason.
that. Yep, exactly. And like I just hate like dude, there's nothing more than going out and buying like embarrassing than buying condoms. Like no one buys condoms.
I've never really like had a
I've
problem
worn them
with
to
that.
see what they feel like. Just get a taste.
I
but-
can't say I've been embarrassed from purchasing condoms before. It's not a big deal if you ask me.
I think when I was like 13, 14, I was like, yeah, I got condoms. Even though I wasn't using them, I just take them to my room and violently beat my meat until I'm semening blood everywhere because you just found out what masturbation was. Maybe that's what I was doing. Yeah. I see you over there like this, dude. You know, giving me the good old Bob. So that's
semening blood, dude. Why are you semening blood? Like at a certain point, it's not pleasurable
it
anymore.
hurt so bad, dude. It stung so bad.
How am I supposed to have a legitimate podcast and you're over there beating that thing until there's nothing left? There's nothing there. It is a bloody stump. And then I'm just supposed to be like, yeah, we all been there. Yeah.
No, I mean, like I just found out what masturbation was.
Okay.
So I was going like 18 times in one day. Like, and I think at that point, like I had like a PS2 when I was watching, like I was playing like San Andreas. So I was like going to the strip club in San Andreas or Vice City it was. And, like,
You were going to the strip club at 13 years
No,
old.
in San Andreas, the video game.
Oh, okay.
Grand Theft Auto or Vice City, whatever one it was. And beating my meat off to like, 8-bit fucking pixelized women with
The triangular boobs?
Triangular boobs, Laura Croft boobs, yeah. So that's what I was doing. But that's where the semening blood came into play. Was that. So
Wow.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I know you're not proud of me now. So yes.
Well, hey, guess what's about to happen here?
What?
I'm going to go ahead and shift gears here.
Did you say shit gears?
Yeah, shit gears.
Oh, and we're back. Hey, listen to this next segment.
Something
I know
I
you got
wanna-
something good. Tell me something good.
Something I've been wanting to bring up. I know it's a fun topic to talk about. It's interesting. It kind of breaks your heart a little bit. It's got everything in it. The guy known as Sky King. I know you know
Yes.
this topic.
Yes.
Yes.
I love him.
So why don't you go ahead and explain for us kind of how this goes down to our listeners?
So he was basically, his name was Bebo. That was his nickname. And I'm sure you could probably look up there while I'm talking about this. His like real name or something like that. Or don't look up his real name. I don't care. Bebo was like his nickname. And he was this baggage handler. I don't know if it was American Airlines or what flight service it was that he worked for.
Oh, I'm not sure on that.
Basically, he was this man that struggled with mental health issues.
Yeah.
As a lot of men do, struggle with mental health issues. You know, that's just.
I think he went through like a divorce or a bad breakup or something.
Yeah, you know, something, man. And like, so basically the story behind him is he went and he was a baggage handler. He went and stole this, I don't want to say commercial aircraft. We're not talking like Boeing 777 style, size.
It was a turboprop.
It was a turbo. No, was it a turbo? Or was it turbo? Are you sure it was turbo?
Pretty sure.
It was a large
I know
aircraft.
everything there is to know about aircraft.
Here's the thing. It wasn't a Cessna. It was
no small little Cessna.
It was a massive aircraft for someone who knew nothing
It
about
was
doing
no
that.
jumbo jet. It was a middle-sized aircraft. Middle-sized commercial aircraft.
Yeah, he wasn't, and also the thing is he wasn't a pilot. He was a baggage
certainly
handler.
something he had no business flying on.
No
his
business
own.
touching. So one day he decides he's had enough of whatever's been going on, probably working a minimum wage job, going through a bad breakup, and dealing with a lot of the.
Well, wait a
stressors.
second. Do those baggage handlers not make very much money?
I think they make. I think it's union. I think
they do okay. I'm not saying they're like
you
retiring way super early.
You don't
but-
aspire to be a baggage handler. Let's put it that way.
No.
But it's not a terrible job either.
No, I think it probably pays middle of the road.
Yeah, middle of the road. I was gonna say mid tier. Yeah, it's not like you're not gonna retire off of it, but maybe you will. Who knows? I'm not bashing on people who are baggage handlers. Everyone's got a job to do.
God bless him, actually.
Exactly. So he went out there and he stole this jet, and he ignores all of ATC's calls, and he takes off, and he's flying the jet around.
And let's face it, I mean, just getting the damn thing off the ground in
Is
itself
a feat in itself.
would be pretty impressive. I don't think I could walk up to any similar aircraft and get it up off the ground myself now.
Nope. And he gets his aircraft off the ground, and he's flying somewhat low. If you watch some of the eyewitness account videos,
There's a few videos.
Yeah, there's quite a few, and he's flying somewhat low, and he winds up leaving the area, and ATC gets onto the fucking phone with him on comms, and they start talking. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?"
What's ATC?
Air traffic control.
Oh, it's the guy in the tower.
Yeah.
Okay.
The tower start getting on there, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Hey, I'm this guy, whatever." He's like, "Well, what are you doing, man?" And he was like, I'm kind of fed up with life's issues. I'm a normal guy with a couple screws loose, and I've had it a little bit rough, and this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, because I think at first they were worried, is this guy some type of terrorist or something?
Yeah. And he made that very clear.
Yeah, he said
times.
like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
I hope this doesn't ruin your day.
Yeah, he said that too. Yeah.
I mean, that's a weird sentiment to come out from a fairly unstable individual at this point.
But you also have, you have to think also like that's a very basic thing to say too, though, right? If you relate it very back to like when you're a kid and you've had your first car accident, or you do anything that's fucked up when you're younger, or anything like that, like, hey man, like I know I fucked up. I'm sorry this didn't ruin your day. Like I know this is probably a part of your job to an extent, dealing with people. And maybe not so much people stealing aircraft, but like police officers and stuff like that. Like, hey man, I know I fucked up. I'm sorry. I hope this didn't ruin your day. Well, no, it's just part of my job, but it does suck and stuff like that. So he's flying this aircraft around for a while, and continually through the conversation that he's having with the air traffic control tower is they're kind of trying to get like an idea of where his mindset is. Hey, what are you kind of trying to do? Like without saying, hey, are you a terrorist? Are you going to kill people?
Yeah.
They're trying to be like, hey man, like, how's things going with you? What's going on? How's the aircraft? What's your fuel at? What's your altitude at? Like give us some readings on what you're doing so they can kind of determine what this guy's doing.
I think it's probably worth go ahead and pointing out too that except for himself, the aircraft is completely empty.
Completely empty. Just him.
Yep.
Just him in this aircraft. And
even when you have the pros fly those things, they're going to go up with a pilot and a co-pilot.
Yes, exactly.
And he's doing it all himself.
So he is
once again impressive.
He is accomplishing something definitely incredible. I don't want to say undoable, obviously, because it's possible, but something that nobody else really would ever do.
Why would you even try?
Exactly. So he's doing this whole thing. He's flying around. They're like, hey man, what's going on? And he's like, he winds up apologizing to his family and friends during the conversation. And one of the biggest things that I think is a big thing to take away from this is one of those lines is when he says, I'm just a normal guy with some screws loose, and I've had a little rough. And basically, a guy who has been making, not so much money, is probably in a bad position, might not have a support system that a lot of people need. And he made it, like you said, he made it very clear that this is not a terroristic attempt. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not a domestic terrorist. I am just, this is what I want to do. And they're like, well, how do you know? One of the things they said to him was like, well, how do you know how to do this? Like, are you comfortable with this aircraft? Trying to get like, poke and pry and get some knowledge. Like, do you have previous flight knowledge? What's going on? He said like, no, not really. But, I played some of the video games and stuff like that, and the flight simulators and stuff like that have to do with it, which also is very impressive. That
Just off of flight simulators, he's at least got a working knowledge of the aircraft. It's insane.
Yeah, he said something along the lines of too, like, hey, you think I can get a job after this? You think they'll hire me? Is like, and these ATC guys goes, I think anybody will hire you after pulling off of what you pulled off.
Which that might be just something they're trying to say just to get him to come
just
down.
to keep him in a good headspace. Too,
but nonetheless, too, we haven't spoken about some of these ridiculous maneuvers this guy was pulling in the air.
Yeah, that's just like a true testament, though, to be like, hey, like whatever the fuck you've done, like there has to be a portion of that is true. I think anybody will hire you if
he
single
was doing,
man
in a commercial aircraft. It's no fighter jet. He is doing barrel rolls. He is doing loop to loops.
Yeah,
and this is a true story. You can look all this up.
Exactly. During that barrel roll, he does the barrel roll. He comes within, I think, like 50 yards of the water. And he's like, I just want to see if I could you think I could do a barrel roll in this thing? And the ATC guy like, well, let's not try it. He's like, I'm just going to try it real quick. Does it. Comes so close to the water, pulls out of it. His mic ruffles around a little bit, right? And they're like, hey, can you hear us? Can you say, yeah, I'm sorry. I just threw up out of all over myself. My mic came off. I threw up all over myself. And then he goes, wow. The fuel's really going down really fast on this.
I bet it's consuming a lot of gas.
Yeah, he was like, I didn't expect
But I mean,
this.
he did things that like overstress the airframe.
Oh,
they're beyond the limitations of how this aircraft was designed to fly. Newsflash for you: commercial airliners are not designed for extreme maneuvers.
No, it's some of the pilots that reviewed that footage were like,
they're not sure if they could pull it off.
They don't know if they could do it. And some guy just had the fucking balls to do it. And he overstressed this aircraft. Probably the aircraft was deemed never, not to spoil the end, but I think at some point, if that aircraft was to land, it probably would be deemed not flyable ever again.
I wouldn't expect so.
Just based off the extreme stress that was put on the whole entire airframe of that aircraft.
Yeah.
So he does his loop-de-loop. And he talks about going to see the Olympics, because I believe the Olympics were going on at that time.
I guess they must have been. I know he's definitely states that in the video. I'm not sure where the Olympics were, or if he thought he could make it and didn't.
He said also in that, he was like, I really came up here to see the views. And he was like, I want to see the views, but they're not as good as he thought they were going to be, or something along the lines of that. Like, he wanted to see the views. He said it was really beautiful up there, but not what he expected. And they're like, all right, man, well, hey, listen, like, let's land it down. Like, let's take her down. Let's like hang out. He's like, well, I just want to do one more thing. And this, like, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it when he says this. He says something along the lines of, all right, well, I'm just going to do this, and then I'll take her down.
I'll nose down.
Yeah. And you understand that, like, that isn't like I'll just land. That is hey, that's it for me. I'm checking out. I think I'm going to, that's about it. That's all she wrote.
Well, and that's what he did. But of course, because he really had no interest in hurting anybody else, he put it down in a completely like a field.
It was
in
like a
forest.
fielded, forested. It was like a mix between. It was like uninhabited area.
Didn't hurt anybody.
It didn't hurt anybody. A place where he knew he could take it down, and he did his maneuvers, and he nosed it down into an area where there was nobody, around it, because he had no intention of hurting people. Did he probably ruin some people's days? Probably a fuck ton of people's days he ruined. The amount of trauma he caused to people just worrying if they're going to crash into their house when he's flying over them. His family, specifically his family, his girlfriends, his wives, whatever it may be, his brothers, sisters, cousins. He caused a severe amount of stress. And that pays true testament to the fact that, like, when you do these sorts of actions and you ever think about, pursuing some sort of alternative route of, like suicide and stuff like that, you're causing so much more pain than you could ever imagine. It might be a relief in the sense that you're going to relieve yourself of the pain you're feeling.
Yeah.
But you're causing the people you love and everybody else so much more trauma and stress than you can ever imagine. So it's a very selfish thing to do. Like, as much as I'd love to say, like, Sky King, who has become, I'd say Sky King's on the same level as that guy who made that bulldozer and armored it all up and drove it through his town.
Oh, I think it's Marvin Heemeyer.
Yeah, you remember that guy.
Yeah.
He's become one of those like what did you call it? A martyr? He became one of those like local domestic like
Yeah, so his
heroes in a
situation
sense.
was altogether different because, like, he was having some sort of issues, some disagreements with like the city about zoning and whether he could have his house where it was and the school.
Yeah.
And it seemed like outside looking in, if you really kind of check it out, it did seem like the city was being kind of shitty to this guy.
Yeah.
So what did he decide to do? He was going to like bulldoze like the city office
The
and the
city hall,
courthouse,
right? Yeah, something like that.
and
And he drove
he
this
put like
thing.
plates of armor on this
It
bulldozer.
was a
So he
tank.
could,
It was essentially a
he
tank.
made it a tank, if you will, and bulldozed several buildings in the town.
Yep. And
Um,
both him and Sky King have became these like local, what would you call like heroes? Can we use the term hero very loosely in a
Maybe.
sense that people are always like, because I know like I don't know if the same for Bebo is or Sky King is the same as Martin Heemeyer is his name, something like that. The tank guy.
I think it's Marvin Heemeyer. I can look
Yeah,
it up.
they've both become this sort of like hero in a sense of like, yeah, man, like you stuck it to the man, or But I think more so with Bebo's fucking case is it's more of like a big token and big kind of like slap in the face and like eye opener for men's mental health.
Yeah, his name is Marvin Heemeyer.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but I mean, you're exactly right though. Like the mental health aspect. I mean, I think especially in the past 10, maybe 15 years, we're just starting to address the fact that like especially for men, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak on that, but for men, it seems like there is a larger influx of concern for men's mental health than there used to be. And I think that's probably a good thing. I think a lot of people, even if they did not end up ultimately committing suicide, have struggled through mental health issues where they have had no outlet, no one to talk to, no one to work through these problems with, and they just have to deal with them for longer than they should have to. And I think there are resources now that are available. And if you are going through anything, you know what they say, and I think it's 100% true. It takes a lot stronger guy to go ahead and ask for help.
Yep, yep,
And,
yep.
and
It's those people that continue to tell you, I don't need help. I don't need help. They're not the strong ones for putting this to the side and be like, I don't need help. I'm strong because I don't need help. No, it takes a certain amount of strength and it takes a certain amount of being a man to be like, hey, I'm fucked up and I need help and I'm asking for help.
there's
Asking
nothing
for
wrong
help.
with that.
No, asking for help does not mean you're weak in any
Yeah.
way, shape, or form. And like you said, I think men's mental health has kind of becoming, in the last 10, 15 years, I'd say even more so the last 10 years,
Yeah.
has been becoming more predominant and being more openly talked about because you got to think as a man, obviously, like I notice I find myself sometimes like just holding things in and not bringing up issues because you almost have like a certain amount of pride. Would it be or
Yeah,
whatever?
you're supposed to be the guy. You're supposed to be the one everybody relies on. You support your whole family or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But newsflash for you, you can't support your family very well because you've committed suicide or you've hurt yourself or whatever there is.
I also don't think I could even imagine what it's like to be able to be in that mental space.
Oh, it's got to be very difficult, man. I got to say from a personal experience, although I've never once considered suicide, and I want to point that out right away, I would have what I would consider somewhat of a nervous breakdown about a year or two ago. And fortunately, there were people in place that could help me and stuff like that. And I don't know if I'm even fully over it now, but that's something I guess I'll explore with my own therapist and physician. And I think it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not embarrassing. In fact, if someone were to come to me and say, "Hey, Justin, heard you're going to talk to someone from time to time. I decided to do the same thing." I'd be like, "Hell
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
man.
of course.
Good for you."
Of course.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely. I've definitely been in those situations where I have felt like I've had too much on my plate, or you get overwhelmed and you feel like you don't necessarily have an outlet to go to or talk to because of, this stigma of being a man, or maybe you don't want to burden other people. Maybe it's
Yep.
not so much I'm a man and I want to hold it in, but maybe you just don't want to be a burden, right?
Sure.
That
I can definitely understand that.
that's definitely a huge thing. And like I remember going to counseling when I was a kid and it helped me a shit ton. I actually went, about a year or so ago also. I went and spoke to a counselor and I remember telling the counselor, I'm like, hey, I sat down with this counselor and I was like, hey, this is everything that's going on in my life. And these are the reasons I did this. And this is how I feel.
Yeah.
And she was like, wow. She's like, you just made it super easy for me. So now let's move to that next step and, like get more deep into it. She's like, I didn't have to poke and pry at all. And not everybody's like that. But like,
yeah, I would say to that though, like if you feel like you have something that is causing you turmoil and you don't even know how to express it, just take that step to go in the office. I can understand that. Like, I don't even know what I would say to a counselor type situation. I can completely understand that. But you get yourself in there. They know how to speak with you
yeah,
and find the root of the problem for you. That's what they're there for.
1,000%. There's different tools and stuff. And sometimes you don't even realize it. Because I'm one of those guys. I don't know about you, but like, actually not too much, but I know certain people and certain men who are like, they don't want to go to counselors because they don't want to be read. They don't want people to overthink them. And they don't want people to tell them how they are because they're going to tell them the crude truth of how it is, right?
Yeah.
And like they have this ego about it. And
there might be a point where the counselor's like, hey man, you're fucking up. You need to cut this shit out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the case for you, whoever you are listening, but that is sometimes things they'll say.
And that's one of the big things about friends too. And like when you have your support system as like, a man like me and you right now, like your friend isn't somebody that tells you, he's not your yes man. A true friend and a real brother, or somebody who's there for you, isn't going to be like, yeah, man, you're right. Even if you're completely wrong in said situation, right?
Yeah.
He's not someone who's going to be like, yeah, you're right, dude. No, fuck that. Like all these girls that get together, all these females that get together, like, oh, fuck that, dude. Fuck that. Oh my God, girl, you deserve the world. Like, no, you don't want people like that. You want someone who's going to tell you, hey, dude, you're fucking up and you're wrong.
Yeah.
Like it takes more of a friend and more balls to say that than it would be to be that guy who's like, yeah, man, everything's good. You're doing great.
I agree with you.
So,
but hey, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So, hey, let me just go ahead and say real quick, if you're suffering from any kind of issue and you just need someone to talk to, definitely reach out to a professional. There's lots of places you can find online. There's lots of places in any state that you're
support
at.
Groups.
Support groups.
Justin, just look at me. See me? Support groups.
No.
Support groups.
He didn't say support group.
Hotlines, though, like whatever it may be, man. Even if you want to leave a comment. And you don't have to.
If you want to like DM the channel, we will talk to you. Not that we are in any way professionals.
Anonymously,
we will definitely hold a conversation and listen to what you're going through.
1,000%. We're all here for each other.
But hey, go ahead and leave us a comment or hit us up at ingearpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. We're going to go ahead.
And wait, I'm sorry to keep cutting you off.
God,
clitoris, Justin.
Damn it.
But I have to say, another great episode. And
it's been a good one.
We appreciate everyone watching. And we hope to give you guys some some better content coming up. And maybe next week, Justin will show us his tits.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, but maybe we'll do something. I'll give you an Ingear sticker for it.
I can just have a sticker.
Yeah, well, I'll give you an extra one. But anyway.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
See you guys later.